Assalamu alaikum everybody. In this video we're going to solve uh, the question that we had in the second quiz for section 1. The question talks about a bank account, so we're going to solve this one step by step, trying to understand it, analyze it, and make it as simple as possible. Starting. So the question says implement a bank account class that demonstrate encapsulation. So first of all, encapsulation, which means private and public. Um, Member functions, we know functions and methods, and a fund transfer capabilities between accounts. So this class should have the ability to send money between accounts or the objects that we are going to create out of that class. The objects, requirements, create bank account class. So we have private members account number, which is string, balance, double. So we have these two information. For public methods, we have a parameterized constructor to initialize both members. We have deposit, we have withdraw, we have display balance, we have transfer. So first of all, what I'd like to do usually when I try to solve things, we break them down into chunks, small pieces, and then we gather them together at the end uh, once we finish. So first of all, we have two private members, the account number and balance. I already prepared this, so we don't take too much time creating the class layout. So we have account number string and we have balance as double, uh, as mentioned in the question requirements. And then we have four methods, one, two, three, four, actually five methods. Um, so let's start with the parameterized constructor to initialize both members. So first of all, what is a constructor? We know a constructor is a method in the class that has the same name of the class, and there is the default constructor, and there is parameterized constructor, and there is a copy constructor. And this one, we have a parameterized constructor. Parameterized means there's parameters inside the constructor, like here, we write things, okay? So it says parameterized constructor to initialize both members, okay? So when we create the object, this constructor will run and it should receive two arguments or two parameters. The first one should be string to receive the account number. I will just do AN referring to account number, and then for the second one is double, which means the balance. I will just name it 2B. I'll give it B. And then here inside, again, we want to give the account number, the thing that we're having. Actually, let me copy paste it to make it fast. And then equal account number that we're receiving from the object that we're creating in the main. And then we have balance. Okay. And then equal to B. Um, yep. Okay. So we're done with the parameterized constructor, I suppose. Second, we have the deposit amount. Okay, so by the way, after you finish something, you have to test it. In this case, we can go to the main and create, and we can create something from the main, but we have to implement the display balance so we can see the data. So let's postpone it till we reach the display balance, and then we test the deposit, withdraw, and the display at once, all of them. So this is for the bank account constructor that we created so far. Then next we have the deposit. So deposit is a method that take amount with a validation. So this is an important thing. We need to stick to the requirements. It says with validation. Validations mean making sure of something. We validate something. We check if it's true, we do something. If it's wrong, we don't. So it says with amount is bigger than zero or greater than zero. So we go to the deposit. The deposit is receiving an amount. The amount we said double. It should be double because it's money. Um, I will give it a name of amount. And then, by the way, why is this method void? So again, in order to understand why do we need to put void, not other data types, void is a data type means that this function is not returning anything. So do we need to return something from deposit? Imagine this, you have a bank account. So you're just putting money, adding new balance to the balance that you have. So you don't really need to return anything out of it. You're just updating the balance. So we say balance equal balance plus amount, the amount that we are receiving, okay, from the deposit. But this is not complete. If we go back and see deposit amount with validation, amount should be bigger than zero. So we need to check if amount is greater than zero, only in this case, only in this case, we do this. We bring the balance and add the new balance to it. Otherwise, if the amount is less than zero, let's say if a user or when we create it, we send minus or negative, let's say negative 100. So if let's say you have $100 and you're depositing a new amount of money and it was minus 100, so plus 100 minus 100, it will become zero, so you're not adding money to your account. So you need to make sure that the coming amount to the bank is a positive number. It shouldn't be zero or less, it should be greater than zero. Yeah, basically even zero, zero wouldn't add anything else. So else we say cout invalid amount. Okay, so we're done for the deposit function. Um, the third one is the withdrawal. So withdraw means we're taking amount of money out of the account that we have. So it's a function. It receives amount parameter from the main function with overdraft protection. So let's see, what does this mean? Overdraft protection. So first of all, I wrote this. So uh, I have the prototype already of the function. So we just write uh, double amount, and then here inside this function, we need to make sure that the value that we are trying to withdraw from our account is sufficient. So for example, think of it this way. We need to protect data, or because especially in banking systems, money thingy is so sensitive. So we need to make sure that we are withdrawing sufficient amount. If, for example, you have $100 in your account and you're trying to withdraw $200, the application that you're using should prevent you from withdrawing this money, right? It would tell you that this is insufficient amount. You don't have sufficient amount to withdraw. For example, okay, you have already $100, but you're trying to take out $200. So that is impossible. So it should tell you that it's invalid withdrawal process. Yeah. So what do we do? Okay, how do we implement this? Most of the students I saw, they struggle with the condition they put. They don't know how to write the condition. So, okay, what do we have? We have the amount here. We have this amount that we're trying to withdraw, and we have the balance that we have, right? So we have a balance and we have an amount. So we have only two values, the balance that we have, the amount that we're trying to withdraw. So we compare them. If the amount that we are trying to withdraw is greater than the balance we have, then invalid, insufficient. Otherwise, if the amount that we're trying to take out of that balance is less than the balance, then we can do this. Okay, so we write our condition. First of all, if amount is less than balance, which means it's a sufficient withdrawal. So we can withdraw this data. So what do we do in this case? We say balance. So we bring the balance that we have. We'll make it equal what? Equal balance that we have minus the amount that we are trying to withdraw. So for example, let's say we have $100 here. This is $100 minus a $50 that we're trying to withdraw. So $100 minus $50 will become $50, and then we assign it to the balance, which is here, which is we're updating this data member. So that's it. Uh, it's done. Then else we have else what? If the amount that we're trying to withdraw is greater than the balance we have, then in this case, we should prompt the user that insufficient amount. Insufficient amount. Okay. Insufficient. This one. Okay. Um, yeah. So we're done with the withdrawal. So we go to the display balance function or method. So display balance const method. So okay, I don't think we took this const, but basically after the definition of the function, we write the word const here, and it means that inside this method, we cannot update any value here. If we try to update the values of the account number or the balance, it will give an error. But I'll remove it because I don't remember we took it or I saw it in the slides. So display, it's a simple function. It will see out um, account number and then account number and then end line. Here we have the balance and then balance and then end line. Okay. So this is the display function that we have. Um, As I told you, at this point we can test. Let's leave the transfer till the end. Now we can test the functions that we have. Let's create something in the main. So we bring the bank account, let's say A1, which means account 1. And then look, I cannot create object this way. No default constructor exists, right? Once we create a parameterized constructor, the default constructor is not working anymore. So we need to send something. We need to send account number and we need to send balance, okay? That is why we have this warning here. So I need to send the account number. It's a string, let's say 1, account number 1, and then the balance, let's say $100, okay? Yes. Let's make another account actually. A2, and then this one is 2, and then let's make this account, let's initiate it with $50 only. Okay. So here, if I come and say A1 dot display balance, okay, let me call this function. We should receive number one and $100 because this is what we initiated account one with. Let me let me compile it and then we run it. See, account number one, balance $100, right? Um, let's try to add more money to this account, deposit, and then we give it more $100. So it would become $200. Display, and then let me compile it and try it. Okay, see? So the deposit function is working fine. What about we try to withdraw some money? So withdraw, let's take out $50. So now if we display this object, so we should see $50. Let me clear the terminal and then let's try again. Okay, so first of all it was account number one with $100, then we withdraw $50. So now it became 100, sorry, a $50 with account number one. So withdraw and deposit both are working with the display function. And I tested only object one because it goes the same for all objects. If one of the objects work, then we're good. The others will work. Now, let's go and try to implement the last function we have, the transfer money. So it says receiver and amount. What is this? These are the parameters of this method, the transfer money. So receiver, which means another account, and amount, the amount that we want to transfer from an account to another account, okay? So basically, let's say that we have two accounts as we have here. So one of the accounts, let's say account one, okay, want to transfer money to whom? To account two, which is A2, and then let's say account one want to send $20 to account two. Now this warning because we didn't implement it yet. The transfer money is not implemented yet. But for now, think of it this way. So we have account number one wants to send money to account number two, and the amount of money that we want to send is $20, right? So the transfer money function should have a receiver, okay? So we say receiver, okay? So we say a receiver. But what data type that we need to do here? So it should, as like we're sending an account here. So the account is a type of bank account class. So the data type here for this parameter should become bank account, right? For this receiver. Yeah. Or maybe we can just make it account in general, just a account. Okay. So this whole account A2 will come and sit inside this variable A. Okay. And the other one is double because it's amount. And let's say amount because we had this name with the other functions as well. We used it here. Okay, so we use the same variable name to unite the name convention for the methods. Okay, now inside this transfer money, what do we need to do? First of all, let's think of it before we try to implement the code. I have $100 and I want to send money to the other account. First of all, I need to check. I need to check if I have sufficient amount or I don't have sufficient amount. So we need to check the amount of money that I have. And then if I have sufficient amount of money, then I send to the other account. So let's try to implement it now. And there is something missing here. If I am sending this A2 to the function transfer money, now I am sending it by value. So if I update, let's say because we have two accounts, if one of the accounts is sending money, the other account should update the balance. So if I am sending a $20 from A1 to A2, A2 now is $50, A2 should become $70 after this, right? So we need to update this. But now I am sending this object by value. I'm not sending it by reference. So this is wrong. It's not going to be updated because a new copy of this will be inside A. So A is a different copy of A2. But if I do the AND operator here, in this case, I am passing by reference. So whatever I update on this account, I am updating the main one that I sent with the function. So now let me um, let me try to do the condition. Okay, so if amount is less than balance that we have, so the amount that I want to transfer from A1 to A2, if the amount is less than balance, then in this case I should withdraw money. So I withdraw, by the way, I withdraw because I have this function inside the class. I have access of these methods directly. I don't need to do this. I don't need to say it. Like here outside in the main function, I can say a1.transfer, a1.deposit, a1.withdraw. But inside the class, I don't need to. I can access them directly. Only I write their names. So I am withdrawing um, the amount of money. Okay. Now, so this withdraw is going to update the balance of what? Of account number one. Okay. Now, I want to deposit money to whom? To account number two. So account number two now is A. It's true that it's A2, but I am passing it inside this function and it will become this A. And uh, since I am sending it by reference, then here inside this A is this one. So I can do A dot look. When I do A dot, I can access the methods. Now, I am depositing what? I'm depositing the amount of money that I want to transfer from one account to another account. So what is the difference here? The difference is I am calling the withdraw function inside the class, means I am updating the amount of money of that object, which is the A1. And I am sending A2. And if I want to update an object of like it's a different object. A2 is a different object than A1. So inside A1, I have this as A2. So in order to access its method, I need to specify to tell A dot something. So I need to tell the compiler that I want to update something from the other object. Okay, it's not like this one. This one is directly within this object. So this is what happened. Otherwise, I need to tell the user that invalid invalid transfer, basically. So now we can go and test it actually. So now I have created account 2 with $50. Now I am sending $20 from A1 to A2. So now if I do A1 dot display balance and then I do A2 dot display balance, okay, what I should supposed to see in the terminal here. Let me clear it. Let me clean and save. Let me compile it. Now, before I run this one, like I have created A1 with $100 and I have created A2 with a $50. So now since I'm sending $20 from A1 to A2, so A1 balance should become $80 and A2 balance should become $70 because we're adding 20 to the 50. So if this is not going to be the output, there is something wrong, right? Um, Yeah, so account number one is $80 and then this is 70. So okay, now it's working. Um, yep. Okay, what is this? Invalid transfer. Okay, why do we see this? Ha, okay. End line. So this, okay, this block of code worked. Look. This is a common mistake. Like, okay, I did this block of code without the else. I need to do else in order to isolate it, because without the else it's just a block of code. It will run anyway all times. As long as I run the code, it will work. Let me clear this. Let me compile it. Let me, yeah, see, account number one with balance 80, account number 2 with balance 70, which means that we have implemented everything. Now, now we're done with this question. If you have any questions, please write them in the comments. I'd be more than happy to reply. Yep, I tried my best to make it as simple as possible. I went through every single details. I know the video is long, but for beginners, we need to go through every single detail in order to understand. Yep. Bye bye.